Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our May 8th, 2018 meeting of the Board of Education. I'm Kate Borninski, and I want to wish everyone happy May and happy Teacher Appreciation and Staff Appreciation Week. Also, I hope that my fellow board members could now introduce themselves, starting on my left.
Doug Brooks, welcome tonight.
Penny McCoy, thank you for being here on this beautiful evening.
Thanks for coming out, everyone. I'm Kim Crouch. So nice to see so many of you.
Patrick Kehoe, thanks for coming out tonight.
Good evening. Anupam Chugsidhu, thanks for being here.
And I'm Patricia Mullen, welcome.
Okay, Ms. Merritt, would you like to introduce your staff?
Yes, good evening. Monica Merritt, welcome. I'm so pleased to look across this audience and see all of our students. That's just a great reminder of why we are here, so thank you for coming this evening. I'd like to begin by introducing my staff, my assistant Elizabeth Adams, who is always here to keep us on track and make sure that she takes our minutes for our meetings. Also Charlie Jones, the man behind the scenes, who tapes our meetings for us so that our community that can't be present with us, they have the opportunity to view what happens here at our meetings. Have the rest of my staff introduce themselves to you.
Good evening, PM ESD, Chief Finance and Operations Officer.
Welcome, everyone. Liz Vartanian-Gibbs, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources.
Good evening. I'm Mike Bender, the Chief Academic Officer.
Good evening. Nick Brandon, Director of Communications.
Good evening. Heather Colombo, President, Education Association.
At this time, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The first item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda and approval of the consent agenda. Could I please have a motion on action item 1805-139?
Madam President, I move that we adopt the agenda, approval of the consent agenda, action item 1805-139.
Support.
Okay, the motion was made by Member Mullen and supported by Member Brooks. Is there discussion on this? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Merritt, do you want to take us through the consent agenda?
Thank you. This evening, our consent agenda consists of human resources transactions since our last time together. We have leaves, retirements, and resignations for your consideration. We also have the approval of minutes from our regular meeting on April the 24th, 2018.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize for that. I was trying to calculate the years that our two awesome teachers have worked in the district because they are retiring. And first, I would like to congratulate Kathy Howells, math teacher at Pioneer Middle School, retiring at the end of the school year after 19 years of service to our school district. Thank you, Kathy. Sarah Yentz, also go by Sally Yentz, who's a language arts teacher at Pioneer Middle School. She's retiring at the end of our school year after 48 years of teaching in our school district. So congratulations to Kathy and Sarah.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is celebrating success, and I'm presenting tonight. It will be the STARS Award for the 2017 Relay for Life student organizers. Celebrating success this evening will honor the students involved with the second annual Relay for Life event at Plymouth Canton Educational Park. This event took place on Saturday, October 21st, 2017 at the bus loop behind Salem High School. Nearly 40 teams participated, raising over $33,000 for the American Cancer Society. The students increased the total from $21,000 raised at last year's event. With the support of student councils and congresses, a small group of students and their advisors, Erin Lee and Kelly Osborne, worked tirelessly to ensure the success of this Relay for Life event. I would like to invite social studies teacher, National Honor Society advisor, and class of 2019 and 2020 student council advisor, Erin Lee, and art teacher, Salem Student Council advisor, and National Honor Society advisor, Kelly Osborne, up to the podium. Erin, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening. Thank you, Board Member Borinsky. Kelly and I are so proud of the work that this group did. They came together to lead this year's P-CCS Relay for Life. As you know, this is the second Relay for Life event that we at the park have hosted. For planning purposes, next year's will be October 27th. Last year's inaugural event was a success, and most of these students were involved last year as well. As the day went on last year, they saw the impact that this event makes on each and every one of them, had come to us and asked, can they be a part of taking on a task for responsibility this year? Of course they could, since this isn't the first time that I've had the opportunity to work with this remarkable group. They are all a part of Canton student government. They started working last school year, coming up with ideas and about changes that they wanted to make, and continued working all summer long. They each held committee chair roles in which they had to energize and motivate their peers. They completed sponsorship days, held fundraisers, including Kiss the Pig. They created a full day of events and performances, and they recruited teams. This year, we're proud to report that we raised over $33,500. The impact that this event had is felt right here in our community. The thing is that with this group of students, this is just one of the events that they work so very hard on to better our school, our district, and our community. Steve Jobs said, "The ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that do." I know that whatever these students go on to do from here, that's what they will be doing. They'll be changing the world for the better. We're so very proud of them and the work that they've done, and look forward to an even bigger event next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. On the behalf of the Board of Education, I would now like to present these students with STARS Awards, Students with Tenacity, Achieving and Reaching Success. Please come up as your name is read, and please forgive me if I botch your name. Isabel Anderson. Sophia Below. Ellie Caruso. Alyssa Ewell. Josie Hodges. Breniel Isan? Breniel? Anne Young? Molly Mundorf? Autumn Tennis? Is it tennis?
Yeah.
Okay. And would any of the students like to say anything?
Hello, my name is Alyssa Ewell, and I had the honor of being the student coordinator of this year's P-CCS Relay for Life event. This past school year, I was approached by Miss Lee with the role of coordinator, as in the previous school year, I had participated in a community event to raise money to grant a wish to a little girl through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And what Miss Lee said to me was, "Alyssa, what's next?" And from this moment on, I really saw the drive to be the coordinator of this Relay for Life event, because I had recently lost my grandmother to pancreatic cancer, and I really wanted to coordinate this event in honor of her. I consider Relay for Life a battle against the powerful force of cancer. And all of these student coordinators standing in front of you today were leaders in that battle. They led an army to defeat cancer and brought together a huge school community to accomplish an amazing goal. I firsthand saw everyone coming together the day of the event, happy and there for a purpose. And it was very inspiring to take part in this event and to work alongside of these amazing people, and I'll never forget the experience, and I'm very thankful. I've also seen firsthand what cancer can do to a family as well, so I was inspired to take a larger role in planning this event. To plan this event, we first talked to local businesses and organizations in Plymouth and Canton, such as Community Financial, Mod Pizza, Tony Sacco's, and more, to sponsor our event. We were really inspired by all the support from our community to help us with our fight. We then needed to get clubs and sports teams from P-CCS schools to participate in the event by setting up a booth at Relay for Life. These booths were filled with games, food, and more. Throughout the day at Relay for Life, we also had numerous events going on, such as a color run, with each color of the rainbow representing a different color cancer ribbon. We had a lip sync battle, performers by the choirs, pom teams, and bands in our district. And my personal favorite, our Kiss the Pig event. So the week leading up to Relay, we had students put money in the jars of their favorite teachers for what teacher they would like to see kiss a pig. And the 3 teachers with the most money had to kiss the pig at Relay for Life, which was super funny. And with all the proceeds from Relay for Life going to the American Cancer Society, like we said, we were able to raise over $33,500 with the help and support of students in our district, along with the support from the entire community. Next year, we are hoping to make an even greater change. Our goal is to raise over $40,000 for the American Cancer Society and get even more clubs and teams registered. Another main goal we had was to get more participation from our middle schools and elementary schools, so it's not just the high schools. Relay for Life next year is going to be on Saturday, October 27th, so hopefully everyone marks their calendars. Thank you.
So congratulations to you all. Please go around and shake the board members and administrators' hands. Thank you so much.
Great job, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice job. Thank you. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have pictures of that.
Okay, we're oh, does he want?
They want some pictures, Kate.
P-CCS K-12.
It is President's Report. And then...
Okay, we're going to continue on with the meeting. While President Borninski is out taking a picture, we're going to move on to item C on the agenda, which is board committee reports and actions. We'll come back to President's Report, and we'll move on starting with the Student Performance and Achievement Committee with board members to do.
Thank you. So we met last week Wednesday at 4:30 in this room, actually in that area. And one of the things that we added to our agenda was the review process of the ELA materials that were presented at the last board meeting. So we went through a further discussion and got a better insight into that review process. So we feel comfortable in moving forward with that in terms of the collections that were requested. What we also found out that we appreciate the team doing a really nice job of trying to get a broader perspective. So They tried reaching out to as many people as possible, but we also understand that this is just the beginning. So this is a start of building collections within each elementary building, that this process will continue, and as we find gaps, that we will continue to make sure that those gaps are addressed. And I mean, our ultimate goal is to make sure that all of our kids are engaged in that learning process, and are engaged in reading, and see themselves represented in the text. So I appreciate the team going through that review process, so thank you for doing that and adding that to the agenda. We also got a little presentation about the STEM and the CTE year in review, which you'll get more information about today. We spent a little bit of time looking at the Michigan School Adequacy Study, which talks about the funding issues that we continue to face in education in Michigan. We felt like there was so much there that as a board, we're going to try to spend some time during the summer really digging deep into that work and better understanding it and looking at what pieces of it impact us and looking at it long term. So more to come on that. But one of the things that was really nice to hear is that we had a broad representation on that team. The other things that we had were high school course proposals for the Hospitality and Culinary Arts course, and resources for EL and K2, which is the Scholastic Edge materials. That was also shared with us at the SPA meeting. And we had no citizens' comments, but our next meeting is June 6th, so I hope more people can join. We actually have really nice conversations, so I would really love it if more people came. I know it's right before exams for some people, but I'll buy you chocolate, maybe even Starbucks.
So was SPA the first committee report you did? Okay, so let's go right to the policy committee. Hey.
Well, today, Patty and I do not have a song for you. But
Maybe next time.
maybe next time. We'll stay tuned. But we would like to invite you to our next meeting, which is actually Tuesday, May 29th at 5:30 here in the board office. We haven't had a meeting since our last board meeting, so that will be our next one. Everyone's invited out and welcome to attend. We did have to change it because it conflicts with honors night, so it'll be May 29th now instead of the 22nd.
And next is Finance and Operations.
So Finance and Operations Committee met last Thursday, May 3rd at 4 p.m. and we went over a number of the transactions that you'll see or proposals and action items that you'll see this evening, including equipment that is being purchased for the district, as well as services that are part of that process. Ms. McCoy was not able to be there, so our person that normally leads the songs was absent from the F&O meeting. However, we have another F&O meeting coming up May 17th at 4 p.m. right here in this board office. I'm confident that Ms. McCoy will bring her song writing capabilities and performing, and we will all have a fantastic time at that. That meeting is actually a really important meeting. It's the pre-budget meeting where we go over the budget, which we'll be reviewing at the board meeting on the 22nd. And I really encourage anybody from the community to join us at that and hear some further in-depth discussion on the budget process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As far as the president's report goes, I don't really have a lot to report. It's been a busy week, but not with president stuff. So let's go on with our agenda to citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens' comments tonight? Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Okay. Then we will go to letter E, which is action items and discussion. And the first item we have on our agenda, first action item we have is one that was tabled at our last board meeting, which is action item 1804-138. Consider approval of resolution to purchase books for classroom libraries for K1 students. Do I have a motion to take this off the table?
Madam President, I move that we consider approval of resolution to purchase books for classroom libraries for K1 students final reading, action item 1804-138 off the table for this night's board meeting.
Support.
Okay. The motion was made by Member Keough and supported by Member Brooks. So at this time, are there any questions on this item? Because I know we tabled it last time to get more information.
Went through SPA, didn't it?
Yes, it
Yes.
did. Yep,
Yes.
I think Anupam just spoke
We
to
went through
that.
the review
Yeah.
process and they
Yeah.
shared everything with us.
Mhm.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to call for a vote, and
So I'm sorry, I'm confused. Are we taking this off the table?
yeah, it was tabled, and so now we're taking it off the table. The motion was made last time, and then it was the motion was tabled, and so now you've taken it off the table, so the motion is back in process.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
We're taking the motion off the table. We're going to vote on them, taking it off the table first.
Right. We vote on putting it back
And then
on the
we vote.
table, right?
We're voting to take it off the table, and then
Then we'll do the vote.
we'll do
For
the vote that was in process.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of taking this motion off the table?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, now, I might need Member Crouch's help, but it was in the process last time, so we still have we have a motion that's on the table now that,
Yeah, it's just back on.
okay, so we don't have to remake the motion, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I don't
Just
think so
vote
either.
for it.
So all in favor of approving this resolution, action item 1804-138, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And any opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Okay, next up is action item 1805-140. Consider approval of resolution to purchase books for classroom libraries for students in grades 2 through 5. This again went through SPA. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of resolution to purchase books for classroom libraries for students in grades 2 through 5. Final reading, action item 1805-140.
Okay, the motion was made by Member Brooks and supported by Member Mullen. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next up is action item 1805-141. Consider approval of resolution to purchase books for classroom libraries, including science topics for students in K through 5. Final reading. Do I have a motion on this, please?
Madam President, I'd like to make motion to consider approval of the resolution to purchase books for classroom libraries, including science topics for students in K-5. Final reading, action item 1805-141.
Support.
Okay, the motion was made by Member Brooks and supported by Member Mullen. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Action item 1805-142, consider approval of resolution for uninterruptible power supplies, UPS, purchase, final reading.
Madam President, I move that we consider approval of resolution for uninterruptible power supplies, UPS's purchase, final reading, action item 1805-142.
Support.
Motion was made by Member Kehoe and supported by Member Brooks. Is there any discussion? No. Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Aye. Yes.
Thank you. Any opposed?
It was a no.
Okay, motion passes 7-0. Just making sure you're all awake. Next up is action item 1805-143. Consider approval of tentative agreement with the Plymouth Canton Education Association, MEA-NEA. First and final reading. Do I have a motion on this, please?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of the tentative agreement with Plymouth Canton Educational Association, MEA/NEA. First and final reading, action item 1805-143.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Member Brooks and supported by Member Mullen. All in favor? Is there discussion? Sorry. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, may I jump in?
Yes, you may.
I just think that it's appropriate and ironic that today is National Teacher Appreciation
And it's, yeah,
Day
it
and the
is.
week.
Yeah.
And so I do want to first just thank our teachers for all of the incredible work that they do each and every day to support our students. And when we look at now our tentative agreement, I want to thank them for the work in terms of coming to the table. I know that even as we work through our enhancement millage and finally having some stability and our fund balance increasing, we still always have to keep our eye on the end and remain being fiscally responsible. Our number one priority is student achievement, and we could not help our students grow without the dynamic teachers and the work that they do. And so really coming together at the table to say, how can we really work to get on a path of compensating our teachers fairly? And can we catch up to all of the freezes that have taken place in the past? We would love to do that. We weren't able to do that at this first time around, but we're all on the same page, really keeping our mind focused on the work that we have to do for our students. And I just appreciate that willingness of our teachers to always to collaborate with us. They do their work asking for nothing in return, and we want you to know that we appreciate you, we value you, and thank you for this process to get to a contract that we believe is fair and headed in the right direction for our teachers. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Well said. Okay. I want to echo everything that Ms. Merritt just said, and also wanted, I did say Happy Teacher Appreciation Week at the beginning, but I want to say thank you now. So thank you to all our teachers and to our staff as well. Everything you do for our students is greatly appreciated. Okay, now we are back to action item 1805-144, consider approval of resolution for local district vote on Wayne Risa budget. This is a first and final reading. Do I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of resolution for local district vote on Wayne Risa budget, first and final reading, action item 1805-144.
Support.
Okay. The motion was made by Member Brooks and supported by Member Kehoe. Is there any discussion on this? Yes.
I would like to abstain from this voting as I work for Wayne Risa.
Noted. Okay. I just want to mention that every year the local districts are asked to approve the budget of Wayne Risa. So this is something we do on an annual basis. Okay. So all in favor at this time, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay. So the motion passes 6-0-1. 6-4-0 against, 1 abstention. Next up is action item 1805-145. Consider approval of resolution changing the time of a regular scheduled meeting date. This is a first and final reading.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of resolution changing time of regular scheduled meeting date, first and final reading, action item 1805-145.
Support.
The motion was made by Member Brooks and supported by Member Mullen. Is there any discussion on this? Does anyone want to explain?
Yeah, so just for the community and the audience here, we're moving the board meeting back 1 hour on that night because it's honors night at Plymouth High School. And a number of the board members, as well as our superintendent, desire to attend the honors night. But we still have important business that we want to do, and we want to make sure that we have that meeting on the 22nd.
Thank you. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, now we're at letter F in our agenda. First up is teaching and learning with Dr. Bender.
Thank you, Mrs. Berninski, and good evening, members of the board. This evening, we are very excited to share highlights of the STEM Academy and CTE program. The presentation will include an overview of the programs, highlights from this year, and experiences of students in the programs. And here to start us off is Canton Principal, Mr. Halherd.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity for us to come up and share a few moments about some remarkable things that our students are doing, and also about some of the opportunities that our students have within the STEM and CTE programming. The CTE and STEM programs have been established in the previous years and had some great success, but I believe that there's a new synergy with some of the leadership changes that have occurred in this past year. And that we'll see some amazing results. We began this school year with the theme of finding the why and utilizing some of the work of Simon Sinek, who's the author of Start With Why, and George Couros, who's the author of Innovator's Mindset, to kind of stoke the fire of our teaching staff and kind of help them to continue to be innovative within their classroom practices. Our CTE and STEM programs have kind of taken this idea and ran with it. Literally, sometimes you see them running down the hall, but I'm not sure if that's because I gave them, asking for another project or something of that nature. But some of those that have been kind of the catalyst in some of the development of some things that they want to try and some of the things that we've kind of enhanced this past year are here with us tonight. We have Assistant Principal Montine Barbie, STEM Coordinator John Magulik, CT Coordinator Heather Duff, and Department Leader Sil Aquilina. And also we have a few of our amazing students with us tonight to kind of share with some of the highlights from this school year. So next I'm going to have Assistant Principal Montine Barbie come up.
Good evening. As Mr. Hurd said, we just wanted to take, thank you. We just wanted to take a moment to thank both the Board of Education and the core team for the amazing support that we receive for our STEM Academy and CTE programs, and share some of our successes, some new initiatives that we're starting, and give you an opportunity to hear from the students who have, our seniors, who have been through the program and what their plans are. So what we very quickly realized with the new structure is that we were provided a great opportunity to collaborate. So having the expertise of both John, who has, thank you, who has teaching experience in STEM, and he understands the program and the ins and outs of it, and Heather Duff, who understands CTE and her teaching experience, having them side by side in the same office generated a lot of ideas really quickly, and leads to new initiatives like a computer science pathway for the STEM Academy. So we're very fortunate that we get to now support families and students as they're deciding which fit is right for them. So we have two experts right there who can say, these are the similarities and where we converge, and these are the unique experience that are offered by each program. So I wanted to, recognize where we've been, but also where we're going. But before we do that, Mr. Magulik's going to speak a little bit about the STEM Academy and its foundations.
Hi everybody, I'm John Magulik. I've been teaching at the park now for 5 years. I've been teaching the STEM program for 3. I started teaching the seniors in the biomedical program. And then this year has been my first year actually directing the academy and then coordinating some of the activities within there. I just want to give you a quick overview, kind of where STEM's at. You all know what the STEM Academy is, but just kind of where we're at right now, and then we'll get into some of the newer things in a minute. So this is a 4-year program of intensive elective courses. So the students sign up freshmen, they're coming in as freshmen, they sign up for 4 years of elective courses. There's 2 separate pathways. So there's the engineering pathway and the biomedical pathway as of now. It's a little foreshadowing to some of the new stuff that we'll talk about in a couple minutes here. Overall, we've got over 700 kids within the program. So this touches quite a few students. But at the same time, that sounds like a big number, but this does make the park feel a little bit smaller. I mean, you guys are aware, 6,500 some kids at the park, that's a big place. And so when we can have this program where students see the same faces over and over year after year, it does make it a little bit more accessible to some of the students that big number makes them uncomfortable. So that's one of the draws. Another huge draw to this program is the way that we teach it and the learning that goes on. So this is very student-centered, it's hands-on, it's project-based learning. We want these students to get done with this program and be closer and more ready for college, career, and culture as a whole. Okay? So there's more to the program than just curriculum. These students leave and they can do their math and they can do their science. They know what a micropipette is. They know how to do undergraduate research in labs. But we also introduce them to things outside of the school and outside of that curriculum. So we've got mentorship opportunities and internship opportunities. Some of these kids get paid during the summer to do work in industry settings. We've got outreach programs to elementary schools and middle schools that these kids participate in. We've got student council, a STEM student council where these students have a voice of their own. And then we've got multiple job exploration opportunities for these kids to check out different avenues and different career paths to help make a choice as to what they want. So again, I've been in this academy, I've been teaching here for a few years now. I've loved it, I've been so impressed with what it has to offer, and we're moving forward. We're going from here. I tried to hit the ground running, and we'll talk in a minute about some of the new things that we've seen. So I'll turn this over to Heather Duff, and she's running the CTE program at this point.
And you might have to pull that microphone down.
Oh, yeah. Good. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Heather Duff. This is my 10th year at in Plymouth Canton Schools. So I've taught at all of the high schools as well as Starkweather over that duration of time. I teach CTE in particular, computer science classes. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about, kind of what CTE looks like currently, as well as ways in which it's being enhanced through, this team that we've got going. The park currently has 13 different career and technical education programs, and they all fit into the 8 career pathways that are listed up on the overhead. Each CTE program holds 2 meetings with their advisory board every year, and this allows us to include all of the stakeholders in decision making for our programs. So students, parents, teachers, administrators, counselors, as well as industry leaders. So they all have a stake, and they all have input into curriculum and materials and other things with our program. Every CTE student participates in a variety of work-based learning experiences, and we're currently working on expanding these opportunities by partnering with local industry as well as the Canton and Plymouth Chambers of Commerce. Student leadership organizations that we're involved in, they allow students to demonstrate occupational competencies as they relate to careers. Our students regularly perform extremely well at competitions that are related to these organizations. For example, our health occupations program, they're involved with HOSA, and they're actually sending 5 students to the national competition next month. And in the morning, we actually have 3 of our Business Professionals of America students flying out to Texas to compete in the nationals for BPA. Actually, 2 of the students that are going placed first in their programs for the state. So pretty cool stuff. I'm going to turn it back over to John to talk about some of the exciting things we've been doing. Thank you.
We're jumping back and forth because we did want to show that, you can just put it here, we did want to show that these programs are separate and they're different. One of the beauties of the park and of the Plymouth Canton Community Schools is that there's something for everybody, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Depending on what your interests are and where you're best fit, you'll find something that suits you. And so we have these separate programs, but there is a lot of overlap between the 2 programs. So some of the new things that we've been working on now, this year we've been in the same office, shared with my team, and so we've been able to collaborate a lot, and Mr. Hurd talked about synergy, and there has been a synergistic effect between these 2 pathways. And so some of the things here that we wanted to point out, first of all, we're working towards starting a new pathway in the STEM program. So we've got the biomedical, the engineering, and now we'll have a 3rd pathway of computer science. And you guys will hear much more about that, obviously. We're in the beginning stages of talking about it. This coming up year, we're going to be planning and proposing, so you'll see our faces again, I'm sure. And then following that, we'll have implementation in that 19-20 school year. So that's just something that we've seen. There's a need out there for it. Computer science is huge right now, and industry's saying they need it, students are saying they want it, parents are saying they want it, so we're saying let's provide it for them. So that's one of the things. Another thing, Healthcare Day. We've got a Healthcare Day coming up. We're actually taking a field trip this May 18th, so coming up real soon here. We're trying to increase exposure for our students in the healthcare field, engineering field, whatever it may be. We're trying to get them out there into industry. So it's not just at a classroom behind a desk trying to learn about what actually happens out there. Let's take them out there and see some of these things. So again, we've been working with the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce and the Canton Chamber of Commerce, and they've helped to build some relationships and get us in the door in some of these places. So we'll be going to Beaumont Hospital in Eastern Michigan to explore some more. Another thing that we've done this year is our Critical Skills Day. So we've been listening to, we try to listen to all stakeholders, obviously. One of the stakeholders, the businesses in the area, say that our kids are coming out technically sound. They're really, really good at doing things that we teach them to do. But what they're lacking sometimes is those critical skills, the critical skills that translate across any job. And so we've added that to our curriculum and some of our focus, but also we've focused on one of the days of the year where we bring, I think this year we brought in 15 different people from across industry and across the community to come in and talk to our kids about what's important, what do they need when they get out of school, no matter what they go into, if they're going to be an engineer, a doctor, a surgeon, a nurse, an auto tech, whatever it may be. So that was a really, really successful day. And then in spirit of this whole job exposure, we always have STEM CTE Career Fair, which is nothing new. We've done this for 6 years now, but every year we try to adjust and adapt to what the students need. And we listen to the students and we survey to see what do they need at that moment. And so this year we brought in over 45 different speakers for the career fair, and we served over 800 students that attended this career fair. So they got to travel to a few different jobs and just kind of see what was out there for them. So that's kind of part of what we want, again, more than just the curriculum in the classroom. We want them to expose them to this. Turn it back over. Heather's going to talk a little bit more. I know we're jumping back and forth, but I think it's important that we both talk.
The GRACE partnership, so this is new for us this year. A few of our CTE and STEM students are actually going to be going through a training program put on by Eastern Michigan University. And the training program is on geographic information system software that's currently used in industry. Once the students have finished with the training, they will actually begin a paid internship with Canton Township, working on current GIS projects with them during the summer, so pretty exciting. Digital Day, as a part of Digital Day, some of the CTE students went to Eastern Michigan University's Digital Multimedia Center and toured the facilities, and they learned some about college and career options in the areas of simulation, animation, virtual reality, gaming, and cybersecurity. As far as the Manufacturing Day is actually a nationally recognized event that's held every October. And this is the first year where both STEM and CTE partnered with Wayne Risa, as well as the Canton and Plymouth Chambers of Commerce, to provide an experience for students where they went and toured a couple of local manufacturing facilities, and afterwards went to the Eastern Michigan University, where they worked on hands-on activities with instructors that were in the robotics, simulation, and manufacturing areas of the school. So now Montine's gonna talk to you about a couple items.
So sometimes they let me talk a little bit, and most of the time it's after I've looked at Heather and John in a meeting with the GRACE folks and said, what is GIS? And that's when they have to explain to me what geographic information systems are. So as they talk, you hear like where their expertise comes. It's incredibly valuable. But we've also worked on a couple things that we've tried to get, my understanding is they've tried to get up and running, and we've been so fortunate to partner with the Prime partnership. I know you had a presentation about that last board meeting. We're super excited to be part of that. But we also generated for the first time a core CTE STEM Collaboration Committee. We recognize the need for a name change, but it's long for a reason. So what we did was asked some of our math, science, and language arts teachers to collaborate with us on where can we meet and do project-based learning that maintains the rigor of a core academic course and introduce CTE and core academic standards. So they really just met. We have about 10 teachers partnering and started talking about what does health occupations offer? What does the biomedical program offer? How do they fit? How could we teach that to the Ed Foundation kids? And they came up with an idea about a Mickey Mouse molecule book that they're going to teach, where they're going to work with several different teachers in several different areas, but the purpose is to maintain a rigorous core academic level and build for both of us that partnership in curriculum design. And so we're very excited about that. The students can tell you more about their experience, and we know you really want to hear from them. So one other person is Stella, who is back. Stella Bublitz is the office manager, we like to call her, for our whole complex, and she's invaluable to us. So we wanted to make sure we give her a shout out, because when we walked in, nobody knew who I was, but the minute someone said, "Oh, you're Stella," they were very excited to meet her. We also wanted to just share with you, the bag in front of you is part of what our focus will be in the next year. So we will do a huge push in marketing when we meet with businesses and partner with the chambers and meet with parents. We like to give them something to remember us by, so that's what we're providing all of you with. And there's lots of little cool gadgets in there as a gift to say thank you, and the kids can show you how to use them if you're not sure what they are. So we're going to have them come up, introduce themselves, talk about what program they're with, and what their experience and future plans are.
Okay, so my name is Ahmad Ahmad. I am a Canton senior. I'm in the biomed program, so I have Mr. Magulik as my teacher right now. And I've been in the program all 4 years, so from the start of freshman year to end of senior year. This will please Dr. Bender. I'll be going to Pittsburgh in the fall. And then I'm also going to be a member of their direct med program to medical school, meaning I don't have to take an MCAT, and I already have a spot in their top 10 medical school. So the reason I say that is because I am 110% a product of the STEM Academy. So I'm going to give you guys 2 quick examples because I need to keep it short. That kind of helped me, but believe me when I say there really are hundreds of examples. But time has kind of played a factor into the ones I'm going to give you. So the first one is that the summer of 2016, I started volunteering in a research lab at Wayne State Medical School. And I was working, or some of the people working besides me were grad students, undergrad students. And I think the microbiologist running the whole thing kind of expected me to kind of fall behind. But he didn't know that I knew how to micropipette, that I knew how to run gel electrophoresis, let alone what it was, that I knew what a thermocycler was, that I knew how to sequence DNA, that I worked with glowing bacteria. So I really wasn't a step behind, and I kind of got to jump right in with a lot of these other kids who were older than me. So the STEM program kind of gives you a lot of just insane, amazing, invaluable experiences. And then on top of that, in a lot of the interviews I went to for these direct med programs, for example, Pitt, because I'm going there, I spent 30 minutes strictly talking about all of the crazy things I got to do in the program. Because the guy across from me was saying, "You did what? You did this? You actually got to do that in high school?" So it really has been invaluable to me. And then kind of just to wrap things up, there's a lot of things that I've recognized just as a student, and I didn't even know meetings like this happened prior to this. Just as a student being in the classroom that I see from Mr. Magulik, Mrs. Wren, pretty much every STEM teacher that I've come in touch with who do things that don't show up in the grade book and don't show up in the curriculum. They really do go the extra mile to go and support you and make sure that you have the resources you need to succeed. So the STEM program has been amazing for me, and those are some of my experiences. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Best of luck.
My name is Emily Caragay, and I'm a senior in the STEM engineering program this year. It's my 4th year. Next year I will be attending MIT, most likely in computer science. So one of the most helpful things for me in the STEM program was it gave me the ability to explore the different areas of STEM and engineering before I'm in college and paying for it. So I entered high school, I was like, I'm good at math, I like science, engineering sounds cool. But then as I went through the different classes, there's a very, very big emphasis on exposing us to the different fields within engineering. And for example, my junior year, a lot of the things we do are projects. And one project was you build a robot and you program it to do different things, and we do different variations of that. And I found that more and more I kept gravitating towards the programming side while my group members would do more of the physical building. And that let me decide that computer science is more than me rather than, say, mechanical engineering or electrical. Another thing about STEM that I sometimes forget is even an amazing opportunity that I have is the access to internships and mentorships. So we have Visteon, Hella, U of M Dearborn, and as high schoolers, if we want an internship, we can get one. And I contrast that with a bunch of my friends who are struggling to even find an opportunity to apply, whereas through STEM we have these amazing opportunities. Lastly, which sometimes I know seems less important, but the people that I've met through STEM are going to affect me through the rest of my life. So the teachers, first of all, are people I look up to outside of just they're great teachers, great math people, they've taught me a lot about engineering, but they're also people that I go to when I have problems outside of class. People I go to when I don't know what I want to do with my future and I want to talk it through with someone. People that I look up to as I want to be like them when I grow up. And then in addition to that, if you take a group of kids that are passionate about learning, into math, and you put them together for 4 years, you end up with a very tight-knit community. And within the broader community of PSEP, which can be huge sometimes, I've found this group of people in STEM that I know I can turn to when I have problems, and I have turned to when I have problems. So pretty much my closest friends I've met through the STEM program. And I know these are people that I'm going to turn to in the future, I've already turned to, and they're going to affect me for the rest of my life. So STEM has been an amazing experience. If I could go back and do it all again, I would, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
My name is Zarin Loosli. I'm a senior at Canton High School, and I am the Segway. I am a member of both the STEM Academy and the CTE program, specifically what will be the computer science pathway next year. Like Emily talked about, the STEM program is a great way to get exposed to a wide variety of engineering disciplines, as well as to learn how to think like an engineer and solve problems the way real-world engineers do. She also mentioned the many wonderful internships and mentorships that we have, which I have experienced through a Visteon mentorship for my senior project. But I'm here to talk about CTE, and where engineering has exposed me to a variety of disciplines and taught me how to think, CTE has really taught me the skills that I needed to have to go into the industry. Through the CTE Computer Science program, I have had experience with a half a dozen different programming languages and learned the software development patterns and techniques that real programmers use in their jobs every day, so that when I enter the workforce, I can hit the ground running. I'll be applying those skills at BYU, where I'll be majoring in computer science.
Hi, my name is Gabby Lester. I'm a senior at Plymouth High School. First off, I want to start by saying, I give these kids behind me major props, because me listening to them talk about their STEM, I have no idea what they're talking about, and they sound so smart. I am not kidding. So first things first, that is not me. I am so different from them. I love them with all my life, but I am a people person. Math, computers, I don't do it. So I came into the school kind of scared, kind of nervous, because you hear about STEM, you hear about all the crazy things. You never really hear about the kids that, what happens if you're not good at math, what happens if you're not good at science. So that's why I'm a representative for Educational Foundations, otherwise known as Kitty Campus. All of my friends, it's kind of irritating, they're always like, you play with kids for 2 hours. It is not that at all. It is so much more. I have learned the best lessons that I'm going to take for my whole entire life. We are doing resumes for job applications. We're doing fake interviews. We learn about child safety. We learn about diversity and bullying in the classroom. And I came in not knowing what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be with kids. I knew I wanted to do something with social behaviors. And I came out knowing that my passion was for teaching. Being hands-on with these kids is the most amazing thing. People can talk to you and teach you about kids but it's so different until you actually go into the room with the kids and you're hands-on. That's when you learn. And this is what Kitty Campus gives us. Since we're in the preschool, 3- and 4-year-olds, for 1 hour every single day, you learn the most I've ever learned in high school. Has been the most beneficial class, hands down, which is why in the fall I'll be starting at Eastern on a full ride for early childhood education and pursuing my dream.
Hello, my name is Saba Mangla. I am a 2-year culinary student. I am also the student sous chef to a certified executive chef, Diana Woodward, at the Rock Cafe at Salem High School. And I kind of get the same reaction that you all just gave me. Is Rock Cafe restaurant at a high school? And people always freak out when I tell them that I have this opportunity at a high school level to serve the community, not just, volunteering and stuff like that, but giving them food, which is something that we all kind of unite on. And so I first met Diana Woodward in 8th grade. I knew I wanted to go into this industry, but I didn't really know what that meant. I was like, I want to be a chef, but what does that even mean? And she kind of broke it down to me, what classes to take, what to do, what it really means to be a chef. And that's why I've had this opportunity I took the culinary arts class last year, and now I am the sous chef this year. And I've learned so many skills, like these students behind me have said. We learned so many skills that I have never learned in any other setting. We learn hands-on how to manage a restaurant, how to prepare food, we learn about agriculture and sustainability. We learn about a plethora of different things that make the restaurant industry so expansive. And through this program, I've also become ServSafe certified. I've become allergen certified. I have earned several scholarships. I will be paying for my culinary arts degree at Schoolcraft this fall, all through the scholarships that I've gotten at the culinary arts program. I've also competed for ProStart, which is the culinary arts program. It is a national program, and so I've gotten to compete for 5 out of 6 competitions that they hold. And through this program, I've learned so much, and of course, I've made friends that I will never ever forget. They've seen me at my best and they've seen me at my worst, and that's what this program provides, is a really close-knit community. Whether it is engineering or medical or through Kitty Campus, CTE and STEM provides a place for students that know what they're going into, and it provides them the skills and the resources that they need to be successful. So thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Hurd's going to close for us, but as you are thinking about the great opportunities for kids, I talked to a student the other day, and she has spoke before the Canton Leadership Group before, and she said, well, Miss Barbie, I want to go into automotive technology. And I said, okay, well, you're in auto tech now, you're going to collision repair. She said, no, I want to go. She laid out the next 4 years and told me that she was going to go into automotive technology so that she could do artificial intelligence for self-driving cars, and knew the upcoming technology and could lay out the path that she was going. And I thought, wow, she was a sophomore. And I said, okay, so figure out how to get that here, and we'll start with artificial intelligence before you leave. So we're hoping to get that started as well. Thank you for your time. Mr. Hurt's going to close for us. And if you have questions for the students, feel free.
Once again, if we can give our students and our leaders a round of applause. So I have the privilege of getting to see some of this stuff every day, and getting in and be amazed by some of the things that the students have opportunity to do. Sometimes I tweet about it, but other times they tell me not to. But it's a tremendous opportunity that you provided for our students to take advantage of at the park. So I don't know if there's any questions that may be best answered by the students or by Ms. Barbie and Mr. McGulick or Ms. Duff.
Anybody have any questions?
I have one question. You've got the new program that you're doing on computer science, and we spoke to one of the students about him kind of straddling the STEM and CTE program. What's the relationship between, where will that new program for computer science be? Will it be a STEM program? Will it be a CTE program? And how do you bridge between those two different groups? Because it seems like there is a great overlap between those things, not maybe just in computer science, but in some of the other areas that you've talked about.
So there is. So it's one of the very first things we started talking about. There are several areas for STEM and CTE where they converge very easily. Computer science is one of them. So the new pathway won't be mutually exclusive to one or the other. It will be a part of the STEM Academy, the third pathway, but also a CTE program.
Okay.
So, right, we've piloted this year's cybersecurity, and we've seen that those numbers have doubled for student interest. So we're looking at a long-term plan of 2 to 3 years out, so you'll be hearing more from us. And there are several areas like computer science where we recognize you can kind of, Zarin's a perfect example, you're gonna put your feet in both pools, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions?
That was excellent.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
great
you very much.
presentation.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up on our agenda, we have first readings of several, more than several, quite a few resolutions. Excuse me. First up of these first readings is consider approval of resolution for CTE technology purchase. So we have a nice little segue from our CTE presentation. Are there any questions or discussion on this? Okay.
Clearly make good use of their resources.
Yes.
So I just want to talk about this. This is, we talked about this in the F&O meeting, and this is, I believe, 40 new computers that will be purchased for the CT lab, specifically on the security things, and they're significantly upgraded to give them the latest technology to support that really innovative program. So I'm super excited that we're doing this, and we're seeing the success with the students that we just heard about.
And they're coming out of a CTE grant or something, right? Is that right, or was that something?
Yes,
The added
Yeah.
cost, yes.
Okay. And next up is consider approval of resolution for Chromebook cases. That's another first reading. Are there questions or discussion? Member Kehoe?
Again, we talked about this in the F&O committee. This is 2,500 new Chromebook cases, predominantly in the 6th and 7th grade. These are replacing some of the Chromebook cases that have been worn out over the last few years. It isn't a full replacement of every case, but it is to make sure that every student has got a case that protects the devices and make sure that they're kept in the best possible condition. And these new cases are nice because they have a way to be able to put actually the power brick inside of or outside of the case, so it can be included separately instead of being just jammed in with the case. So.
Thank you.
I know that my middle schoolers can be really excited about this.
Next is consider approval of a resolution for the purchase of high school hospitality culinary arts textbook, Foundations of Restaurant Management and Culinary Arts, first reading. And then this one and the next one went through SPA, I believe. So, Member Sido, did you have anything to add about this?
No, one of the things we talked about was the digital access to some of the resources, and it was nice to see that there are digital copies that the students will be working in, and the hard copy stays in the classroom. So it's really nice that we're going to be using the technology that we have in doing a lot of this work, and we're not relying on old school paper, heaviness in your backpack.
Okay. And next is approval of a resolution to purchase Scholastic Edge for English learners in grades K through 2, first reading. Did you mention this during your SPA report a little bit? No?
I just mentioned it briefly, but we didn't have any questions. It looked like a good program, vetted.
Excuse me.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Next up are some resolutions that came from F&O, Finance and Operations. First is consider approval of resolution for the purchase of a John Deere skid steer. It's a first reading.
So This is, actually, I'm going to let Mr. Peterson speak to this this particular item because I'm not sure I will get all the details of this one right. There's a lot of accessories to go with this.
Yes, there were.
Yes, the skid steer, probably most of you have seen one on back of some landscaping truck. It's a small machine by standards with a scoop on the front. We do not have one of those in the district. It is a real basic piece of equipment and can be used for a great many tasks. One of the problems that we have at the park in particular is that we drive great big loaders over our sidewalks, so we kind of go from a truck to a monstrous machine, and we don't really have anything in the middle, which is the workhorse. So I've listed some comparisons there that are all from the MyDeal pricing consortium, different brands and models that are all of a comparable horsepower and size and weight. The accessories that go with that are the forks that make the machine like a little high-low. There's a planetary auger, and that is used for drilling foundations or putting in things like fence posts and light poles and things like that. It's a machine that we can use a lot. The hydraulic hammer is one you've probably seen working, and you will definitely see around the park this summer. It's a way of breaking up concrete when you're replacing sidewalks and driveways and things like that. And then probably one of the most handy tools is the snow blade, and that will be used primarily at the park for pushing snow on our sidewalks in between classes. And the machine does have a heated and air-conditioned little cab on it, so it can be driven outside in the winter.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is approval of a resolution to purchase a Ford F-350 snow plow truck, not snow, plow truck. First reading.
So much like the skid steer, this is equipment that will be used throughout the district. This is one that's replacing, I believe, a 2001 plow truck that is out of service right now. So this is in line with the other light-duty vehicles that we have in the district and is comparable from a pricing perspective.
Okay. And next is consider approval of bid award for Fresh Pizza Contract 2018-2019 school year. First reading.
So this is a really interesting program. I wasn't really aware of it, but I guess it made sense because my son buys pizza at his school. And this is throughout the districts, and I believe our middle school and elementary programs where we offer pizza on specific days of the week. And this is a way that we work with a local vendor to provide those things with the sufficient quantities and meeting the nutritional standards for that process. There are specific nutritional standards that are required, so it can't just be any provider. And we're staying with the same vendor that we've used in the past as part of this process with a very small price increase on this. And so we're excited about this program and to keep our costs down and to continue to do this as a very popular program.
And next up is consider approval of resolution for gym floor refinishing project at Plymouth High School. It's also a first reading.
So I believe that we refinished the floors at Canton and Salem last year, and this year we're intending to do them at Plymouth High School. We're again using the same vendor that we've used before. They've been the low bidder in these processes and done great work for us.
Okay. Any other questions? And finally, we have consider approval of Grand Rapids Building Services GRBS contract extension for 3 years. This is also a first reading.
So GRBS is the custodial service that we use in conjunction with our own plant engineers in the district to support the clean process. And we've worked with GRBS over the term of the original agreement and a one-year extension last year. We've really been pleased with what GRBS has done and how they've collaborated with us in improving the quality of the process and making sure that they really are members of our team, an extended process there. Although this is a 3-year extension and we've chosen not to go out to bid, GRBS has included a number of items in their contract which they're giving for us as built in. So this is, I believe it's a significant savings that have occurred of additional things that they've been providing as part of this that are go above and beyond the contracted terms. These will be written into the contract, and just to make sure that we're all clear in terms of how this works, we do have a termination for convenience clause available in the contract in the event that we want to get out. We don't anticipate anything like that. They've been a great partner, and as we've talked to other people in the surrounding districts that have explored other vendors, they have not really been successful or happy with some of those other processes. So we're excited to be able to lock in our rates for the next 3 years and to be able to continue the partnership and collaboration that we have with GRBS.
Okay, thank you. Next up is the superintendent's report and dynamic plan progress report continuation.
So I want to kind of be mindful of our time, because I do know that we are adjourning to a special meeting when we're looking at restorative practices and board governance. We also have worked and tabled this update from the last meeting, because it's a lot of work as we're given the progress report as it relates to our dynamic plan. So I would ask that the team, let's move forward and kind of be mindful of our time. We'll give some highlights. If there are some outstanding questions that we can't answer today, we can follow that up in writing with the board members. But really just taking a look, last time we had an opportunity to take a look at our teaching and learning and really our 5-year plan, which we said is really our compass moving forward. So everybody knows which direction we're going, streamlining the work. Really, teaching and learning is the heart of what we do. And so then taking our other 4 departments and aligning their goals and strategic priorities with that of the dynamic plan to support the work of our teaching and learning department and the success of our students. So I'd like to begin with Dr. Liz Vartanian-Gibbs to continue with the conversation around human resources.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. I will share the progress of the dynamic plan for the Human Resources Department as well as initiatives for the upcoming school year. The goal of the Human Resources Department is to provide focused services to all staff members in an innovative, flexible, and fiscally responsible manner, which will support and elevate the educational experience for all students in our district. A sub-goal with our work is to attract, hire, and retain highly qualified employees. Administrators from Plymouth Canton Community Schools attended job fairs at Michigan State University and Eastern Michigan University to recruit teachers that are diverse, highly competent, highly qualified, and culturally proficient. We met and interviewed 172 teacher candidates at the job fairs. 10 of the candidates we met were diverse and reflected our student demographics. At this time, I am reaching out to candidates and encouraging them to apply online for teaching positions in our school district. We have offered early commitment letters to 2 candidates. Current data indicates that there is a significant decrease in the number of students enrolling in a teacher education program. At Michigan State University, there has been over a 45% decrease in students enrolling in the College of Education. At Western Michigan University, there has been a decrease of 62% of students enrolling in the College of Education programs. The numbers are similar across the state of Michigan as well as nationally. So as a school district, we have to attract teachers to our district. I am working on developing a partnership with a local university to place student teachers in our school district and to build a program that brings the talent to us. We also provide mentors to teachers that are new to the profession for the first 3 years on the job. During the 17-18 school year, we continued with the Premier Substitute Teacher Program. This program puts in place 1 guest teacher in every building every day to cover unfilled absences. Because of the teacher shortage, it is difficult to fill all of our positions when teachers are absent. This program has been successful in the following ways. Students are connected with their premier guest teacher. The guest teacher becomes part of the staff and knows the rules, routines, and procedures in the building. The data has indicated a decrease in the amount of unfilled teaching positions in our district. For example, in February 2017, 9% of our positions were unfilled, and in February 2018, 6% of our positions were unfilled. The Premier Substitute Teacher Program is providing positive services to our school district. To support the goal of succession planning, the Leadership Development Program was created. There are 65 teachers in this program that are learning about leadership. The participants have attended 5 after-school workshops on school culture, school improvement, specialized services, relationship building, and athletic activities. The teachers will also attend a full day of professional development on culturally proficient leadership. All of the participants have an opportunity to job shadow a current administrator in our district for the day. The goal of this program is to develop leaders that can lead and support building initiatives and curriculum work. The program is also helping us grow our own and support administrator succession planning in our school district. 3 Plymouth Canton Community School teachers also attended the Inspiring Administrator program at Wayne Risa, which is a year-long program that helps to build leadership capacity of its participants. Another sub-goal is to provide professional development opportunities for all staff members in their respective areas. In the area of professional development this year, our paraprofessionals received 7 hours of training where they had the ability to select from a menu of job-specific options. The survey following the training showed very positive feedback. We have offered this type of training the last few years and have made modifications based off the survey results. Also, we received a grant to support the components of the teacher evaluation tool. Professional development was planned in the areas of growth mindset, culturally proficient instruction, mindfulness, and Charlotte Danielson's framework for teaching. The next sub-goal in our department is to work collaboratively with all bargaining units to monitor compliance with contracts and to support a safe, harmonious, and collaborative work culture. During the school year, the core team has attended staff meetings and participated with staff to listen and solicit feedback regarding our work. We also visit buildings on a regular basis to support our employees and to ensure employees know us and are comfortable working with us. The Human Resource Department meets monthly with various bargaining groups to discuss issues that come up and works to solve problems before they become grievances. One of the strengths of our district is the relationships that have been developed through these dialogue meetings. We have been very busy this year and are in the process of negotiating with 8 of our bargaining groups. As we look towards next school year, we will continue with our dialogue meetings, provide interest-based bargaining training to new employees and existing employees, and we will also continue to negotiate successor contracts. Our next sub-goal is to optimize the use of technology by staff throughout the district. The Human Resources Department has been working to streamline procedures and optimize the use of technology by staff throughout the district. This year, our new families utilize a new online student registration system in MyStar for kindergarten registration and school of choice families. This new feature reduces the amount of time our staff is entering data into the school information system and will help us to have cleaner data. Recently, training was provided to secretaries and administration on the new back-to-school registration module. This will be a process all families will use in the summer to update their child's contact information, medical information, and other annual required information. The HR department provides periodic items to the weekly leaders update, which is emailed out to all administrators and secretaries. A major focus of our department next year will be on student registration. All new and returning students to the district will be completing registration through MyStar. This summer, we will also be utilizing the back-to-school enrollment updates for all of our current families. So our last sub-goal is to improve communication to staff regarding human resource procedures. In the area of communications regarding human resource procedures, the department works with the policy committee, these lovely ladies who sing, each month to update board policy. One of the focus areas this year has been our equity policy. We have invited various department leaders to the policy meetings to discuss how the equity policy is being addressed in their work. Our department's focus next year will be to continue with the monthly policy meetings and updating policies and to provide more training to staff on board policies. We will also be working on an electronic employee handbook for our staff.
Thank you. Questions?
Okay.
So when you talked about going to like the job fairs, and you said you saw 10 diverse candidates out of 172, that's well below like the demographics of our district. So, could you talk about ways you're trying to increase our diverse applicant pool?
Sure. So, of course, some of the ways would be to continue to go to job fairs. Some of the ways is that you have to reach out with our current colleagues in the district and have them help secure candidates from other places. It could be someone they know as a friend. It could be someone they know professionally. We're also looking at, for the following years, traveling to places outside of the state of Michigan to attend job fairs to continue to recruit a diverse candidate pool.
Member Mullen?
I have a question. I hope this doesn't put you on the spot. When I was job hunting, Plymouth Canton is not part of the Wayne Risa job hunting network, and it's a separate application. And I wonder if we've considered joining that greater pool, because a lot of applicants don't know it's a separate application to even find out about us. And again, I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot. It just occurred to me if we were trying to increase the pool a little bit, if that was considered.
Sure, so I appreciate you sharing that with us, and I'll be happy to look into that to see exactly what you're talking about to make sure it's addressed properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's talking about the consortium list.
The
So we have our
consortium
own, the system, our own online tool, our
Correct.
application system is separate from the consortium system that's used through.
Right, and the applicants, with all my friend, we were in the program, they were all doing the RESA and didn't know if you want Plymouth Canton, you've got to go to that specifically. I wonder if that's been considered, and perhaps it needs to, let's just bring that up for future consideration.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Liz.
All right, moving to the next section is finance.
Okay, good evening. Finance, our goal, P-CCS will proactively, efficiently, and transparently manage the district's short and long-term finances by establishing priorities within a responsible budget that supports the district's mission and vision. The sub-goal of this is present for board approval a proposed budget that is aligned with district goals and objectives while maintaining a comprehensive, inclusive, and transparent budget process. Our process and actions for this year, which most of you were part of, community forum held in March 2018. We've had our collaborative budget transformation on April 25th, and our trade-off. The fund balance analysis, which the board has been shared with, is through to 2023. We do summary financial statements to the board through board notes on a monthly basis, and then mid-year amendments in January, and the final amendment in July. We grow from lessons learned in our budget process, and we continue to provide financial statements to the board on a monthly basis, and fund balance is ongoing. This goal is pretty much relates to our budget and our process, which the district has, I think, been successful in balancing the budget for the last 3 years with the process we use. Therefore, we keep getting buy-in, and we have been successful in accountability. The district then is in good financial standing, and it starts with the budget. So it starts with the budget, then a plan, monitoring the plan, and again, adjusting the plan. So it's a continuous cycle. Vicki Amore, I'll take the next.
Good evening. The next sub-goal was to receive the annual unqualified audit opinion from external auditors and provide monthly financial statements that effectively summarize financial operations and financial condition. So as you're all aware, because the auditors did come out and do a presentation several months ago, we did achieve an unqualified audit opinion for our June 30, 2017 fiscal year. And in addition to that, there were no findings or material weaknesses or significant deficiencies noted in that audit, so we had a very successful year-end and wrap-up. The summary financial statements on a monthly basis are provided to the board each month and also posted out on the district website under the transparency page so that the community can also keep current on our financial condition. The mid-year budget amendment, as Pam just referenced, was presented in February, and then we'll be working on the final budget amendment that will be brought forth in June. The focus and initiatives toward our sub-goal for 1819 would be to embark on a collaborative process across several departments to define requirements for a new accounting, payroll, human resources system, and to prepare a request for proposal. One of the goals of that is to increase internal controls. There are some enhancement in internal controls that we can automate through a new system. And another positive outcome for a new system, an example would be to provide convenience and efficiency for our staff. So some of the systems that we've looked at initially is they are able to do integration with vendor software. So you could go out into, you basically go through your system into a portal to the vendor. You can do shopping, put things in your cart, and it'll import back into the PO system and help generate and automate POs that way. And that also helps from, again, the internal control system on the back end of the transaction. The system will help match the purchase order with the receiver, with the invoice, so that you have that three-way match before invoices are paid. And another thing is a new system will be address a long-standing recommendation from our auditors to integrate our payroll, accounting, and HR systems. Right now, they're separate and they don't talk to each other, so you always have risk for error and information that might not be congruent between the two systems. So that would help us to get to a place where we'll have integrated data and be more reliable. We also have some compliance matters to address in the next year related to some new accounting pronouncements that have been issued by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, which we affectionately refer to as GASB. So we have GASB 75, which is other post-employment benefits, we call OPEB. And similar to GASB 68, which we adopted a few years ago, 68 was to require that we report a portion of the statewide pension obligation on our financial statements. This takes it one step further, and now we have to report the unfunded liability for other post-employment benefits, and primarily it's retiree health care. So we're going to be going through another big process to get that calculated and estimate booked on our government-wide financial statements for our portion of the statewide liability. And one other GASB that's coming up that we have to address is the GASB 84 related to accounting for fiduciary funds. This is not required till the 1920 fiscal year, but we actually have quite a bit of work to do to get ready for that. It's going to change the definition of what we can call a fiduciary fund, and this is going to impact our student activity accounts. The student activity accounts in the traditional sense probably won't be impacted, but there are some other accounts that maybe don't quite fit that definition that we're going to have to do some accounting differently. So we have a lot of those types of accounts in our system that we need to evaluate on a one-by-one basis, and we'll have to reach out to the buildings and who manages those accounts and do some research, and it may impact some accounting. So we have some work to do leading up to the implementation of this new GASB.
Our next sub-goal is pursue alternative revenue sources such as partnering options and obtaining private, state, and federal grants. During 17-18, the district has received the Wayne County Enhancement Millage passed, generating additional operating revenue. Without this, we wouldn't have been able to invest in a lot of our programs and move the district forward like we have. Continue to partner with Livonia Public Schools on our nutrition service management. And also, we've received numerous grants from Community Financial, Michigan Educational Credit Union, Bosch, and we partner with EEF on classroom grants. We will continue to try for next year to identify potential collaborative opportunities and monitor fund balance impact to assure transition with or without the enhancement millage.
All right, the sub-goal on purchasing is review and revise spending authority and purchasing practices. So toward our goal of educating employees, an in-service day was held for secretarial staff in August. The event was a collaborative event and included presentations from pretty much every department within the district: accounting, payroll, HR, operations, nutrition services, communications, student services, teaching and learning, special ed, EL, state and federal programs. Everybody got a chance to get in front of the group, talk about what was new. We all provided some documentation and resource information that was put into a secretarial desk manual, if you will. We also updated purchasing policies that were approved by the board this past June, and those new policies incorporated some required updates related to procurement using federal funds. We're excited to share that we have created an electronic process for submitting contracts for approval and signature. The new system has helped with efficiency, tracking status of contract approval, and has reduced paper usage. The new process emphasizes a review of contracts and purchasing before commitments are made. The process went live in early 2018, and we do have a few things that we need to tweak in terms of cleaning up how the routing process works, but overall it's been a vast improvement in the process and has really helped us keep our thumb on the, where those contracts are. In addition to mechanizing the contract submission and approval process, we have implemented a similar submission and approval process for journal entries and budget transfer requests. Again, efficiencies have been built in, reduce paper usage, and provides better tracking history and documentation. In an effort to communicate expectations, we have formalized and distributed guidelines related to the employee reimbursement process. Our goal is to lead the procurement process to the purchase order system as a first resort. However, we understand that there are certain circumstances that warrant purchases on a reimbursement basis. And so we've provided guidelines to communicate expectations, particularly around common issues that have been problematic in the past, such as we want to make sure that people understand that if the district is going to be incurring the expense, the items need to be shipped to the district. We have had situations in the past where people would have things shipped home and then bring them in, but better business practice would say just have it shipped directly to the district address. We've documented and formalized that original itemized receipts are required. Credit card slips alone are not sufficient. In particular, we can't especially if maybe if somebody's at a conference and they went to a restaurant to have a meal, we have to have that itemized receipt to show that there was no alcohol included on that. You know, that's just one example, because by law, obviously, we can't reimburse that type of an expense. So if we don't have the itemized receipts, we can't validate what types of things were purchased. And we've required that all receipts must be turned in within 60 days. It's better for budget management, the condition of the documentation, because if you get a receipt that's been floating around in somebody's purse for 6 months, it gets a little tattered and they're hard to read. And so we're just formalize that. We also created a new internal Google site for the business office where we have parked internal forms, guidance, past presentations, all kinds of resource and information that anybody throughout the district might request of the business office. So that's been very helpful. And I would like to thank our business manager, Jill Save, for all the time she put into developing the site, as well as special thanks to the technology integration team, Rick Coughlin and Matt Smoot, for helping to make that vision a reality. That has been very helpful for us and for the secretaries and anybody who needs forms or guidance out of our department. And our focus initiatives for 18-19 is to continue professional development on procurement process. We still have some work to do in that area. We'll enhance the guidance, maybe provide some flow charts to help people make decisions about when do I have to go out to bid, at what point do I need 3 formal quotes that are written, when do I have to come to the board for approval, and that'll help people make those decisions, because a lot of times out in the buildings they don't do it often enough that those policies are top of mind. So if we provide a written guidance that helps them through those decisions, that will be helpful for them. And I think that's it.
My next sub-goal is work with the board and legislature to promote legislation that can promote financial interest. The finance staff is always involved and attends professional development through Wayne County RESA, MSBO, and other related associations, and we monitor state and federal legislations related to school districts. We will continue our professional development next year, and we will continue to monitor legislation related to school districts. The next goal is coordinate long-term and treasury management processes. This year we reviewed and identified 2 bond refunding opportunities. One that saved the taxpayers $4.6 million was our first refunding, and the other one was $1.3 million in savings through the refunding. Both were 2008 bonds, and we will continue to plan and monitor the long-term debt and opportunities for refunding. Now we'll move on to operations, unless we want to stop for questions with finance and then go to operations.
I prefer that we stop here.
Okay, any questions?
I have one question on the PO-based workflow with a three-way match. I'm really excited that we're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an approval workflow for the non-PO or for the things that you can't do a three-way match for, services and your reimbursement workflows? Do
They all-
people?
Oh, go ahead.
Go
Finish
ahead.
your question.
No, I was just going to ask, what's the sign-off process that occurs for those kinds of things in the approval process?
Yeah. Right now, it does go through our system, and we have approval and routing. It's just not a three-way match. So
Okay.
all of our stuff still goes, and Vicki has
Yeah.
to maintain the system, but go ahead.
Yeah, so for things that are service-based, we would require the individual who is verifying that the services actually were received to sign off, and we call it an okay to pay, that they verify that they actually did receive the services and it's fine to proceed with payment.
And you mentioned also that the receipts are required to be turned in within 60 days. Is that the submission of the reimbursement? So the receipts must go with the submission?
Yeah,
Or
correct.
you don't have the receipts trailing?
No, right,
Okay,
so the
got
receipt
it.
and the
Perfect.
submission for reimbursement comes
Fantastic.
together.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We'll move on to operations. Mike Peterson.
So our main goal is the district will provide operational services in an efficient and fiscally responsible manner to support and elevate the educational experience for all students. My first sub-goal here is to optimize facility usage to provide efficient use of space and allow for future expansion or modification of district programs. Obviously, that's not something that's done in a silo in my department. It's closely tied to teaching and learning and the different academic offerings that we offer the students here in the district. Our progress towards that sub-goal during 17-18 facilities utilization process has been started, this most recently just in March, to facilitate a 10-year facility utilization plan development. Ongoing, always, year in and year out, is an assessment of things like our boilers, our roofs, our stormwater plan, and things like that, to maintain the integrity of our buildings so that our buildings don't fall into disrepair. Moving forward into next year, we want to work collaboratively to help develop that 10-year plan with all the key areas in the district and make sure that we have the buildings that are appropriate for our students and our programs, and to look at our unallocated bond funds and remainder of the programs that we have, our purchases that we have laid out for the district in the next year. Our next one is the maintenance and custodial sub-goal, to maintain and improve school district facilities for a safe, attractive, clean, and efficient learning and working environment for students and staff. This kind of gets to the heart of what you see me up here on reporting out on a couple of times already this year. So we're going to continue with our KPIs on a quarterly basis. I continue, as does Rich, to meet with our custodial vendor and review our status of where we are, which is some of the work that leads us to where we were earlier this evening with our proposal to extend. Continue to survey our stakeholders for ongoing improvement to make sure that the people in the buildings, the people in the community, the students, the teachers, everybody involved see what we see and feel the same way about the conditions in our building. Keep a focus on a common definition of what clean is. We work with GRBS and the district with our principals for improvement opportunities within each individual building. Not any two buildings are exactly alike, although we have some that are sort of sister buildings or brother buildings, as you will. But every building offers a different challenge for us. We've contracted for energy monitoring and the consumption within our buildings. We do that with Executive Energy. And we're working on developing an energy conservation and building management plan. Moving forward in 2018-19, we want to continue to monitor our custodial vendor. We want to work with our own in-district staff. We've been working on ideas for training our own, so to speak, and offering training opportunities for our own people, as we have several members that are retiring or reaching that retirement age, and the people that we're bringing in, as Liz was speaking earlier, it's a bit of a challenge, and sometimes we have to provide our own training to get the people that we want to provide the service that we'd like them to have. And we want to implement an energy conservation plan. We've done a lot here. I don't want to pretend that we haven't, but those are dollars that are available that we all can do something about, so to speak. And the last one is dealing with transportation. Coordinate efforts with our private transportation firm to provide safe and efficient student transportation and open communication. Again, we've prepared and we've delivered the KPIs quarterly. I continue to work with our vendor and stakeholders to identify efficiencies, to see if there's anything else that we can squeeze out of that without affecting the level of service that we're providing. And I just want to point out that a lot of times we think of just the general education portion of our transportation, but there is the special ed component, there's the homeless component, there's all our summer programs that we provide transportation for here at P-CCS. And so we're constantly looking at that. Moving forward, for next year, continue to monitor our progress, report out through KPIs, review performance to identify inefficiencies or efficiencies and cost savings, and continue to do what we're doing to do it as efficiently as possible to keep those dollars channeled in the classrooms. That's what it's really all about.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. Member Crouch?
I have a question.
Questions?
You had mentioned about the energy conservations. Do we have any plans in place, or are you going to create some concrete plans on there? Because the savings out there offered by the state are pretty substantial. So I just
Right. We've done a lot of things. Rich Welch is actually one of the things that he's been tagged for, is because of his background, is to develop a plan and to work on a plan for future conservation things. Some of the topics from where we're at right now don't always get real popular. Things like personal appliances, for example, use a lot of energy efficiency. So it's really something that takes, when I say personal appliances, I mean like in a classroom or in an office or things like that. But that's something that definitely has to be a collaborative effort among everybody. But we have, yes, we do have a plan. We've locked in rates. We've purchased on the choice plan and that type of thing, if I'm understanding your question correctly.
That's fine. Yep.
Other questions? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Mine's going to be quick because I know we have time. So first of all, thanks, Mike. Mike shared with you operationally what our goal is, which is always to be efficient and fiscally responsible so that we can get stuff back into the classroom. That means that that's what we do in nutrition services too. And one of the things that I'm sure that everyone around me is sick of hearing, but my group's motto is a well-fed child is a child ready to learn. And that means access to a well-balanced nutrition. So that's what we focus on in our department. And last year, this is a little bit out of order, but last year we conducted a survey. And one of the things that we found in that survey was that with everything, the cultural diversity within our district, that there was a lapse in how folks were able to read menus or to understand. So we sought a menu app, and at first everyone said, oh, I'm not gonna have my printed menu to go on the refrigerator. Well, what we're finding is that it was really a positive because we sought an app that had 36 different languages that would translate. It had all the allergens. And so besides the whole point that folks need to be able to read in order to order, they also need to understand what's in the food, because we all have to be very protective of our children, and many, many allergies are out there. I heard it was exciting to hear that in our own program in our schools, our students are going through the allergen training, because my staff needs to go through that too. So I think that's a pretty cool correlation right there, that they're learning even as they're learning in the classroom. The other thing was we needed to expand what our ethnic offerings were. I've mentioned in the past that I invite students in to teach my staff how things should be prepared or handled, and we'll continue to do that. And we found that that's very positive. You know, a couple of years ago, we started serving items like halal, and when I talked to the student group, they said, well, just try it at one school and we'll get the message out. Well, we have it all 3 high schools now. and they know where to find it, and it's a great option for them. One of the things I wanted to share with you, if we talk about statistics a little, last year we served about 8,500 meals a day. This year we're up to over 9,100. There's a lot of different things that go into that, but a lot of it comes to that we're reaching our goal of access. That means that more students are eating with us and more students are taking advantage of the programs that we have. The other thing that I'm excited to say is that we've really rolled out, and I just did another training with my staff, of profit and loss, where they can look every month and see how they're performing in their school. And some might say, well, that's a lot to expect of a kitchen manager. Well, I've got some very savvy folks, and they ask really good questions. And their goal is to make it the best program possible for our students. And when we do that, we're able to reinvest back in our programs. And already this year, by doing that and looking at where our expenses are, we were able to reinvest in our programs over $200,000. That means a new van. That means 5 new dishwashers. And I know that we all can't get excited about that, but for my ladies and my gentlemen, that is really exciting. The other thing is ovens. You know, we put Band-Aids on stuff for a long time, so this is exciting that we can put it back. The other thing is, under the federal guidelines, I need to provide professional standard training, which I love, because that means that I'm taking the development of my staff and raising the level of their awareness. And so far, just this year, we've done 900 hours of professional training for my staff. So if we spread that, it's a little over 10 hours a person, but I think that that's great, and that sets them up for success. The other thing is, looking to the future, is our next option is we want to really work, we already collaborate and work really strong with our building administrators, but I want to make sure that we're in sync with our messaging and their messaging, that everything that happens in that cafetorium or cafeteria is all on the same page and supports behaviors and everything that happens in there. So that's something that we're going to look to for next year. The other thing is food and presentation. As much as we all say it, we've taught our generation that they eat with their eyes. It's not with their taste. It's how they see everything. So we'll be going through further food presentation and also going back to that food preparation. We'll always touch on that because that's really important to make sure that we're doing it the right way. I'm excited about this next thing. When I first started here, we started this whole new branding for the high school. Well, that was 8 years ago. I guess I'm bored. I'm not really bored, but I think it's time to change it up. And that's going to come through focus groups. And just last week, I had a chef come in who met with my team, and we tried 12 or 15 different recipes and really talked about what's our next step, what do we need to change, what are our students asking for. We got to do that prep now in order to roll it out for next year. That's all.
Thank you. Questions?
On the focus groups that you do, are those with students or just with the chefs externally?
Oh, no, those are with students. Okay. And what we found is that we need to really take it down. It was interesting because Nick had invited me to a session with our parents. And so anytime I can get in front of parents too, I have to also, and I know you're all parents, I have to also temper it because what we like to eat and they like to eat are two different things. So I take the best of all and try to make it the best all around.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bringing us home will be Nick for Marketing and Communication.
Good evening. Happy to bring this presentation home in tribute to Vice President Crouch and Secretary McCoy, and I'm going to sing my entire presentation. Actually, I would not want to do that. You would all leave. But happy to bring this home, and very happy for our department, the Marketing and Communications team, to be on the wings of teaching and learning. Like all departments you've heard from tonight, our job is to support what's going on in teaching and learning, support our students, and support what P-CCS is about every single day. You'll notice 5 sub-goals in our particular area. And let's dive into the first one, which would be communication. So our department has obviously the job of communicating both internally and externally with our community. Our progress in this year includes really great data from our district website. Year to date, we have 319,000 unique users. That's how many unique users our website reaches just in the matter of the first 5 months of the year. More than 1.1 million sessions. You can see next to that are the totals for all of 2017. So data certainly backs up the district website as something that continues to be a good high visibility area for communication. We've really worked hard to pursue compliance with some recent ADA actions that have happened, getting our website really up to standard with ADA compliance. It's work that's really never completed because there's always new things that you can do. But we've made tremendous progress this year looking at alt tags for pictures, closed captioning for video, to pursue that ADA compliance and make sure that all users are able to access and use the website for its purpose. And our social media program continues to be very robust and something that's helped us tremendously with communication. We're going to work with Wayne RISA next year to utilize some more text messaging reach through their EduLink notification system. We want to make sure and reach families the way they want to be reached, and text is certainly that way in today's age. And so we want to work with RISA to make sure that we can get that reach. We're also going to do a refresh of our mobile app. We've had 9,000 total downloads to date of the P-CCS mobile app. We want to refresh it. We want to look at some other providers, make sure that our mobile app is sort of up to date and getting the community what they need in terms of what they want in a good school district mobile app. Second, media relations. Our team has the responsibility of making sure that we ensure relationship building with local media. It's been a really tremendous year in terms of PCCS media relations. We had a teacher who was on Family Feud this year. That's the gift that keeps on giving to a communications department.
Win?
Those are the things that just happen. With a district of our size and a community of our size, those amazing things are going to happen. But we also need to make sure that we're using media to get our messages out and using media to make sure that we're communicating with the community in a way that they're used to receiving messaging. So when you look at our yearly communication about the Wayne RISA enhancement millage and how that money was spent, very, very vital that we communicate through the media with our community on the responsible ways that we're spending that money. And we will do that annually. We've dedicated that to our community. We had a new principal at Bentley this year, so we wanted to make sure and give her some exposure. So we did a first day of school feature at Bentley. Those are just two examples of the relationship we built with the Observer to allow us to get some features out there that really help the community to stay informed. We've got some positive TV this year, which is awesome for our district. Too many years, TV was always just the stories that would happen that were unfortunate. This year, we've worked really hard. We've developed a great relationship, particularly with WDIV, who has done a series of positive features of late, most recently the SJ 5K, but they covered our Vaping 101 event, they covered the Sunshine Football Clinic last spring, and did a feature on the Community Financial Student Credit Union. So nice to see PCCS getting some TV exposure in a positive light. It's very important. The LPT newsletter, which comes out every 2 weeks, we've continued to update that and make sure that we're reaching our community's needs, and that's a form of media that comes from our office. The LPT in 3 podcast was an addition this year, which gives basically like a 3-minute audio snapshot of the newsletter, which is very convenient for those kind of on the go. The Spotlight in the Balcony feature, we took the words of Dr. Brown, who spoke to us at opening day this year, and we have featured a different staff member every single edition as a Spotlight in the Balcony feature. And that's been really an outstanding thing. And then the LPT photo gallery is something we just added a few weeks ago, just capturing all the great images that are going on around the district in our weekly newsletter. We definitely want to utilize the Celebrating Success segment here at board meetings to create a little bit more viral video. We found that some of our best performances and things that we've had here have gotten a lot of traction on our YouTube channel. So one of the visions for next year is to continue to use that segment as a way to promote ourselves to the community through our media outlets. Community relations, staying connected to the community, just a vital and huge part of our department's work. Our K-12 Insight Climate Survey, which just closed, is one of the primary ways, and continuing to do that work and continuing to hear our community's voice is a huge aspect of our department and our district. Under Superintendent Merritt's leadership, we've really, I think, built stronger connections with our community. And the K-12 Insight Survey has been really important for that work. Not to mention it's really helped with a lot of major decisions that we made as a district. We also did a school start time survey, as you know, this year. So trying to continue to hear the community's voice as we make important decisions for our students. The Back to School Bash, which happened this last August, welcomed hundreds and hundreds of people to Heritage Park to celebrate the coming of the school year. And we're looking forward to an even bigger and better event this year. It'll be our 2nd annual on August 25th, 2018. Everyone should come. Phase 2 of the Blue Ribbon panel work saw us really get some testimonials out on 88.1 from community leaders and people that have contributed to the panel's work. So we've been very active on 88.1 The Park in that way. Parent Council continues to develop. And then CEBL, Community Ed Basketball League. Many of you might not know community education is actually part of our department. And we saw 19% growth in basketball this year, which is great. That's a great area of growth for that department. Looking at those trends, we're going to be launching CEVL sometime in the next year or two, which is Community Ed Volleyball League. So we're always having our eye on what's next and what's hot in the world of recreation, and volleyball is certainly that. So staying connected with the community, a huge part of what our department does, and will continue to be moving forward. The next two areas, marketing and branding. Marketing, I just can't say this enough. We saw the second straight year of enrollment growth in our district, K through 12. It's just an amazing accomplishment. It starts with the board, and it continues on to everybody that has any stake in our district, working hard to grow this district. And that number, 17,537, that I've heard Monica say so many times, was our number in the fall count. We're just so proud of that, and we want to continue that for sure moving forward. We've seen continued stability and growth in our early childhood program. And then we are doing our exit survey work. In fact, we just launched it last week. We finally have a real sustainable exit survey that we're going to administer every single year to find out from those families who left the district that really rich feedback about why they made the decision that they made, and allow that to build our marketing efforts, because it's very important to hear that feedback about why families decided they might leave the district. We'll continue to collaborate on different forms of media, looking to do a high quality video production in the next year that can produce some viral video for our district. And then lastly, of course, branding. Branding is not a thing you do. Branding is a lifestyle. Branding is a culture. It's something that our district has really developed as a culture in the last couple of years. Community events, giveaways, getting the district logo out there, spirit wear, all these things are branding. 2 weeks ago when we were supposed to give this presentation, I was wearing this exact outfit. And I kid you not, Kim Villarosa, who's the principal of Salem High School, came over to me before the meeting and she goes, "You look so learn, prepare, thrivey." And I was like, yes. Because for her to say that actually is a huge branding accomplishment. It really is. And it was also really cool and really funny. But when she said it, I thought, wow, those colors and everything that we've built and everything we've worked on for the last couple of years and learn, prepare, thrive, we've built that into something. So much that a principal would recognize that just in clothes. But it's not clothes, it's branding. It's that attitude of getting our brand out there, building our brand, making sure all the community knows who we are and what we're about. The visits to the core team have been just incredible for all departments to be a part of. Certainly for ours, one of the highlights has been, and I introduce all of you to Buddy. Buddy is our kind of mascot, but connected to teaching and learning work, Buddy is actually our restorative practices symbol. When you do restorative circles, you have something that you pass around. And we've modeled this at every staff meeting that we've gone to. And we chose Buddy very intentionally because, as you can tell, Buddy has our colors and is the globe of our logo. And so what we did was we gave every single staff their own Buddy that they can then take and use for restorative practices. So Buddy is really cool for us. We like to hug him during meetings. But it's also, I think, a great symbol of the unity among our departments, that everybody can unite around restorative practices and branding and all the things that Buddy represents. So happy that Buddy could make it to the board meeting tonight. We certainly want to take full advantage of the Moments with Merit radio show in the future, continue to produce good viral video from that, and promote that harder. We're blessed with a superintendent that sounds great on the radio and is a great interviewer. And so it's a great show, and we want to continue to promote that in the next year and kind of build that brand up a little bit more. So on behalf of all departments, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to hear from us. And I think we're all looking forward to continuing to do the great work we do for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions for Nick? Okay, Member Mullen.
Nick, my question is regarding media relations and my experience, in the athletic department. It seemed like the various teams was kind of up to if you had a great parent who was willing to take on. And there were so many other sports other than the big ones, things happening, and I'd see coverage of, Livonia or Northville, these other teams. And I wonder if we have given some thought to some process and support so that our athletic or our clubs, not just athletes, know how to go about media relations. Do we have some guidelines? Do we have some support? Do we make that any kind of mission within those other departments? Because it's such a great aspect of what we do, you know.
assessment.
I think it's a great point, and I think you're talking too about the changes in the observer, because now a lot of times coaches are sort of writing their own recaps and sending them in. So I like the idea of giving them just some leadership and advice on how to produce a good media relations campaign. I think that's a great idea, and we'd be happy to lead that.
Member Kehoe.
Nick, I had a couple of questions on market share.
Sure.
I really love the fact that we've been able to grow our market share within the district, but I think that there's still a lot of opportunity out there. We know that there's about 2,500 students that live in our district but don't attend our schools. Is there anything we can do that targeted those people to take all the fantastic materials that you've done from branding and all the other communication processes and specifically target those families and say, make sure that they know about the great things that are happening in P-CCS?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot we can do. I think making sure that the events that we have in our district, we have multiple events during the year that are open, community open houses, extravaganzas, things like that. We try really hard to promote those to areas that we know where there's heavy charter families or communities that, you know, might be making a different decision. So I think that's key to make sure and continue that open events where the entire community is invited are communicated well.
I'm just wondering if direct mail, you know, a mailer specifically for people that live in our district that don't attend our schools to let them know about what's happening.
Yeah, we've certainly looked into it.
Okay. Yeah. The second question I had was on the exit survey.
Yeah.
I'd welcome the communication to the board or board notes or a presentation on some of the things that you've seen from there and some of the actions that may have resulted from that feedback that we got from the exit surveys.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Member Brooks.
Yeah, I got two questions. One of them, which is in the last week, I've talked to my one neighbor and then somebody else I know that lives in our district, lives in Canton. And they always come up with this comment, well, I don't have any kids that go to Canton schools anymore or never did. Why should I support the school system? And it would be nice if we could, you know, capture or kind of direct some of our stuff to those types of residents on there so they can continue supporting, because we do need their support financially and you know, with everything else too. Is there anything that the school's doing for that?
Yeah, I think it's great feedback. That's what I would say. I think that so much of our marketing efforts to the point have gone to parents of, you know, school-aged children. But I agree with you 100% that that's a really important market to capture in terms of communicating and promoting ourselves. We need their support, so it's great feedback.
Yeah, because they just, you know, they're part of the group that says, well, I'm taxed enough, I don't want to be taxed anymore, and why should I? You know, I like living in this area, but, you know, why should I support the school system? I don't have any kids going there. And it's like, no, that's not the point. You know, do you want smart kids as your neighbors, or do you want, you know, not less smart kids in your neighborhood?
Well, as our superintendent says, a strong school district is the cornerstone of a community,
Right.
so everyone should get behind it.
Yeah, so
the other question I had was, for this past week I got it. Well, I've been watching some of our the cable channels, Education Channel, and the other one that we see the board meeting on, and that, and I've tried to get my family members to watch it too, and they're like, "Did you put in a videotape for the board meeting? Because it looks pretty bad." Is there anything that you can do? Because the rest of the programs that are on the channel look really good and up to date and that, except when you get to the board meeting, it's like, okay, we can't make out anybody, you know, at certain times. Is there any way that we can improve that? Well, it must be my TV then.
We really do look that bad.
Well, my other question was, do you really want people to recognize you on TV?
See, I'm okay with like not being real recognizable,
Okay.
because I figure I don't need those close-ups.
You don't want us to
I'm
get
okay
4K
with it.
cameras in here?
Yeah, no,
You
thank
want
you.
4K,
No,
okay.
thank you. I don't need
So
my wrinkles.
on Mr. Brooks's comment about the people that are not part of the district, I mean, you already mentioned it about the strong community. it's more than just the community. It's their property values. It's the everything else that we do. And drawing that connection between a great school district and maintaining the value of your house is probably something that we also need to make sure that we emphasize to the whole community.
And I was trying to be quick through the presentation, but our Realtors Breakfast this year was
That's what I was
incredibly
gonna say.
successful.
Yeah,
It was we had a record high for turnout, so
Yeah,
and that's a good example.
You got that targeted to a subset of people that are specifically talking about that, but it might be also useful for the community as a whole. I mean, it's hard to do because we don't wanna spend our limited marketing budget talking to everybody about all of these things because we only get so many impressions. But
But it's a good point, and we've talked about it before, specifically though, just with our businesses. We have great relationship with the Plymouth and Canton Chamber of Commerce, but just even letting our businesses know. I know that Livonia school districts do something similar with their businesses. They just provide them a newsletter so that those folks understand what's going on. I mean, they're all touch points in the community, so it doesn't have to be. I mean, we do a good job of using electronic communication, so even if it's just simple as, working with the chambers to, have it shared with their membership or whatever. I mean, I think it is important that we touch the community in as many facets as feasible.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I want to thank the board for allowing us this opportunity. I know that our time is precious as we get to the last few meetings of the school year. It's kind of like a spool of thread. It's wrapping up quickly, and we have a lot of information. So our last few meetings have been plentiful, I will say. But really the goal of the update for the dynamic plan, if you recall, we were doing our work with your self-evaluation and looking for areas that you wanted to work on. And one area was making data-driven decisions. And so I needed to commit to you at that point to be really intentional with our presentations and let you know that everything that we're doing is connected to the dynamic plan. And it was important to really spend some time sharing the progress that's been made. I hope you see the enormous amount of work that has taken place just this year alone, and really the intentional work that is set for the year to come. So we will really align our presentations more in the upcoming school year that really focuses on the work of teaching and learning, focuses on the work of the dynamic plan, and provide continuous updates in terms of our progress. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you to yourself and all of your staff.
Yes.
It's very
Yes.
much appreciated, and really great level of detail on all the great things that are happening in the district.
Yes, very good information. So next up on our agenda is letter G, which is follow-up board questions. And we have some outstanding items. One is the third grade reading plan that was gonna, and resources to come to SPA, that's still outstanding. Data on the number of days of instruction time missed for suspensions. We got some information on that. We're still waiting to hear about a little bit more. Breakdown data of the start time survey by level and cohort for each model. I don't think we got that yet.
Yes, we got that Friday night.
Did we get that? Okay, we
Yes.
got that on Friday notes. Health and medical data for the start time data. I know we did get that.
Yes.
Yep. Schedule for timeline for start time changes.
So we have the first meeting that's reconvening, I think, May the 31st, for the committee, and flesh out the timeline and follow that up
Okay.
in board notes.
Okay. So we're taking the breakdown data of the start time survey off, and the health and medical data for the start time data, that's taken off our list. The timeline will still stay on for a little bit. Slide on the start time survey on the website. That got updated? Okay. Then outstanding from the April 24th meeting was outline of restorative practices implementation schedule. That's still outstanding, right?
You're talking about the phases, right?
Yes.
The question that
That's what we-
Patrick had,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
I know that it was presented in policy or one of the other subcommittee meetings, but the whole board would welcome the
Yeah.
chance
So I do
to
believe
understand
that
the
is a
restorative practices.
Part of, are we going over that
I
this evening, or are we
know,
sharing
I
it?
know.
Like,
We're
The
prepared to
phases.
share just, an overview of the different years. I don't know if that's something that would be appropriate during the
Yes.
other session.
Yeah, so we'll finalize that work.
Okay. Okay. I didn't write down anything from this meeting. Did I miss anything?
I'd like to get a presentation on the exit survey, or data on the exit survey.
Okay. Okay. Was there anything else? Okay. I would like to call for a motion to adjourn to our special meeting. Do I have a motion? Okay. I heard Member Crouch, and I think I heard Member Mullen. Okay. Any discussion?
Just for those here in the audience, you're welcome to stay. That we're ending our regular meeting, but it is still a public meeting, and we welcome anybody to stay for that special meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. The regular meeting is now adjourned, and we will go straight into our special meeting. And thank you so much for bearing with us and being so patient.